We are live. I'm joined today by the lovely and glamorous Irina Loncar.
Loncar, but yeah, close
Long,
enough.
Longshot.
Yeah,
Well, you've only worked for me for a few years, so I probably should have had that down.
it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay. And you dress up like this every day to go to work, don't you?
Yes, every single morning. This is how I wake up like this.
Okay. So Irina's worked with us for over 2.5 years now. What she started doing with us isn't what she does now, as happens with most careers. So today I wanted to give you all a bit of an insight into, I suppose, how Irina started her career as a virtual assistant for us and then became a recruiter and account manager and all the rest. But before we jump into that and all that good stuff, why did you get into recruitment?
I went to college here. I was studying psychology. I always wanted to be a clinical psychologist, like treat like really ill people and stuff. Then I realized, well, that's my passion, but there's no money in it. And I would rather have money and do something that's not as fulfilling than, be a doctor and then, not have any money. So I realized HR is the only part of psychology that actually has any potential in like earning money.
Mm.
So I joined a recruitment agency here in Belgrade. That was a really old school recruitment agency. We were all sat in a big room, like we were handed a phone, and we had to do like 100, 150 cold calls a day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, which was kind of traumatic.
So walk me through what your cold call would have been.
I would get like a role and I
Yeah.
would get like a really big list of like names that I can call and like ask them if they're interested in a job and then describe the job for them.
Mm.
So yeah, I would just like literally lose my voice at the end of the day every day. I had like KPIs, targets, but they were like focused on like me making calls, not me making placements, which is kind of weird.
Mm.
And then like as I moved forward, I got like some roles where I had to meet people face to face and stuff, but it was just a basic agency. It wasn't really specialized. So I
Mm.
was doing everything from like truck drivers, housekeeping people to like I can't even remember what all the roles were, but it was just like scattered around the place and it was just literally focused on doing cold calls.
You're a bit traumatized by that
I
experience.
I still don't like picking up the phone after that.
We have to say something I've inherited and probably have fostered a little bit too long. And it's definitely in your learning and development plan. Maybe we need to get a clinical psychologist in to reverse engineer some of the damages that have been done. And I worked in a call center when I was in Brussels for a year. Fucking hated it. Worked for an espresso, really posh brand, and I'd be calling up these old people, and it was one of these things where it's just like you're on the phone all day, and I had no passion for it at all, but I just wanted an office job, and I didn't speak French, so um, yeah, it is what it was. But when I went to Australia, myself and Charlotte worked in a call center for a day or two in Perth, with no money, right? And I had a panic attack. I don't panic, right? I I put on the headphone, and all that, like that year of having that, all of a sudden it just came all back to me. And I wouldn't say it's a panic attack, but I was like, oh, oh no. Anyway, I got a job in recruitment. It was all good. Um, and then the next day, Charlotte called me from the call center, and she said, "Hey, that job you got in recruitment, do you think you can carry us for a couple of months?" And I was like, "You want to quit, don't you?" She goes, "I want to walk out." And I said, "You're going to walk out?" She went, "I think I'm going to walk out." And I said, "Okay, okay, do it." She said, "Just put down the headphone and run out the door." She did. Anyway, so yeah, she got a job in recruitment. It's fine. Um, so after that, you worked for a nameless company. We're not allowed to name that company. Um,
Yeah, after that, after I realized I really can't be doing this anymore. Like, there's no way I can like lose my voice at the end of every day and then be like really traumatized when my personal phone rings. Like, I stopped speaking to my grandma, like my mother, like anyone. I was just like, please text me. Then I joined another company, which was cool. I joined them as a personal assistant, which was kind of different from what I wanted to do. I ended up doing some recruitment for them, like internally, which ended up like that was really well. The girls that I helped hire are still working there. They're really, from what I hear, happy. And yeah, I was working with them for 8 months, but I was always like trying to get back into recruitment in one way or another. Because like I realized that was my passion, and I'm really not passionate about anything else apart from like spotting a person that's good for a job and then getting them a job. That's like my passion. So that's what I always wanted to do. So I spent like 8 months with them. I was stuck in an office with them, and we had to be in the office at like 8:30 a.m. and work till like 5, or I can't even remember, it was 5 or 6 p.m. And we had a lunch break in between, which is like the worst thing that could happen to me because I am not productive in the morning. I'm not.
Oh, really?
I'm not an early bird. I don't do mornings. I just, if I wake up at 11 a.m., I'm cool. Like I can start working straight away. But if I wake up at like 8 a.m., it's going to be a struggle. And I'm going to spend like 2 or 3 hours just like trying to stay alive, basically, and function. So like not having the flexibility of like arranging my own time and my own day, that was really, that really wasn't working well for me. So after 8 months and some other things, I have decided to like leave that completely behind me. And that's when I created an Upwork profile, and I was just like doing some side jobs. It was in recruitment, but it was just like some irrelevant, like small recruitment jobs. It was like sourcing and placing some candidates, but it wasn't as rewarding. And that's when Charlotte contacted me on Upwork. That's when I first learned about the whole concept of rack to rack, actually, because it's not, in Serbia, we don't have that. It's just non-existent. That's always a struggle when I have to describe what I do to someone here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's how I joined you after a couple of rounds of interviews.
Yeah, and we were lucky with the kind of model that we did, because Charlotte, when Charlotte went to have Connor, our first son, and she'd quit 3 or 4 times. She just was resigning every quarter. But she came across Andrea, and luckily Andrea worked out. And then that was kind of the framework for you to come in. And then it's probably better you describe it, but where we're at now in terms of our processes and our procedures, it wasn't what it was when you arrived, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because when I arrived, it was just the 4 of us. And then after a while, it was just the 3 of us because Charlotte quit and had a baby. But yeah, when I first joined, it was completely different. I was mainly doing sourcing and just like trying to figure out still what rack to rack is and how we work, who the clients are, who the candidates are, who's good to approach, who's not good to approach, and basically just learning the whole industry and everything that has to do with rack to rack, and also recruitment, as the recruitment agency where I worked was obviously a completely different thing that the agencies and our clients that we work with right now. So yeah, it was a really tough couple of months trying to like get everything sorted in my head and like put everything where it should be. And yeah, at that time it was mainly sourcing. And then any candidate I got I was scheduling a call with yourself. And then if the candidate was good and we had options for them, you would then pass that on to Andrea. So I had no contact with the candidate apart from like scheduling a call with them. And obviously after a while that has changed. And I think that's what made the most impact on my career within our company is like having the view of the whole process, as opposed to like when I first joined and like I was only focused on like getting candidates and that's it.
Yeah. So the kind of thoughts behind that is like you get somebody excellent at one thing and then you give them the next thing. Now, the counter argument to that is if you show them the whole process at the start, um, maybe they can learn a bit quicker. But I think we found with bringing people into the team after you
Yeah,
that doing that probably didn't work as well. And we've probably gone back to like, okay, let's just do it bit by bit.
yeah,
So, like, because it's so we've expanded our team with Florina and Bianca since.
yeah.
Um, so it must be interesting seeing that like that evolution over your time.
Yeah, definitely. Because like when I first joined, as I mentioned, it was just like the three of us on the call, you,
Mm,
me, and Andrea, and each one of us was focused on different things. So I was sourcing, you were speaking with candidates and clients, and Andrea was like scheduling everything, and like she was in contact with everyone. And then as we expanded, as like other people joined, it's just like really interesting to see all the different faces and like how far we've come. In
mm,
the past, it's only been like 2.5 years. It hasn't been 10 years or more
yeah,
in a short period of time.
the breakdown of what you do now is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I'll still like take most of the calls. You'll take some of them. Um, I mean, the more you're doing it, the more you're doing that. And at the start, I had you doing all like the marketing images and stuff, and you bloody hated it.
Right. I forgot about that
And
now.
you were really like you were all right at it for about 5 minutes, and then you just like I could just we were like, fuck, she hates this. Um, and you were like, yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to be creative. And and Andrea was like, yeah, I hate it too. And I was like, oh man, you're killing me here. But we bit the bullet and we got our marketing department sorted with Georgiana. And I think like that was a real turning point because at that point we had the podcast for a while, so business had kind of doubled. We had you guys sourcing and delivering,
Yeah.
and you taking like a percentage of the calls as well. And so all of a sudden we like you're now an account manager, you're now a sourcer, and you're doing the coordination, but you're not having to do the marketing. So now we're trying to improve like the communication between the clients given the jobs or media that we do with the clients, how that works with Georgiana, who runs all the marketing, how she helps you guys with your own personal brand. And it's been would you say that that piece has been very welcoming?
Definitely. That's lifted a big, big part of my like everything I don't want to do is in life is be creative and come up with like really catchy titles, images, and stuff. That just it's not that I don't want to do it, is that I'm horribly bad at it.
Right.
And for Georgiana, it takes about 5 minutes. For me, it's like 5 hours to come up with something good.
Yeah.
And when she took over that part, like it was really, really good. As we got better at it, obviously, because I wasn't good at it. We got better at the marketing piece. And also I was able to focus on other things, which are more important for me
Mm.
and for what I should be doing, which is like, all the candidates, clients, and everything in between,
Mm.
all the percentage of it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And that kind of brings us almost to like current day. And before COVID, like it was almost like we could have hired another person to the team every week. Like it was things were just going crazy. And for anybody who's listening, a large part of what we've done to date is move people internationally. It's probably it went from a revenue perspective, it's 70% of our business, and 30% would be the UK and Ireland, like local moves. No, that's flipped because international's gone for now, so everything's a focus on UK, Ireland, direct hires, maybe some like local hires on a retained basis in America, but it's a it's been a full on experience, hasn't it? We
yeah,
went what like we went from 50 interviews to one overnight. Um,
yeah. I was just like watching everything just fall down, and like the list was getting shorter and shorter, and then it was non-existent. It was really scary time.
it was really scary, and luckily we were ahead of the curve with our costing, with our remote way of working.
Yeah.
I gave up my second car. I we give up our office. Say we made a lot of we made a lot of like, okay, what type of spending can we do? You guys reduced down to 4 days, some a bit more, and we all just try to kind of pitch in with the view that in 8 to 10 weeks, I said 8 to 10 weeks, we'll have a full order of jobs
Yeah.
again, and we have like we have, but borders aren't open, so now we have to get better at the local to local
Yeah.
sourcing, influencing, and that, because I think like we were excellent um, at the destination piece. So yeah, it's been a bit of an evolution, but think like every week, over the last 3 weeks, everything's kind of gone up and up and up, which it's that's really good. Um, you'll have noticed. I know you're not I know you're not a big fan of the Dualta podcast, but you get just about enough of me every day. But you'll have noticed we've done the scale series recently. Did you catch any of it?
No.
Ah!
I'm not gonna lie.
I love it. Okay, I don't blame you. But what we've been documenting what we're doing in that, and we've just managed to secure 2 senior hires, which
That's good.
now kind of leads me on to the next stage of what do you want to do next? Like what? Like obviously, until Andrea comes back, like you can't go anywhere.
I'm still
uh, like there's no way. But like you're in a growing company, you're starting to get to the, like, you build your confidence back up. Hopefully you're not as traumatized by the phone, but we do need, like, for your next evolution, you need to be more targeted on like doing that type of stuff. So what do you think? Like, because I know you get bored if I, like, there'll be months will go past and I'll be like, hey, do you want to do this? And you're like, yeah. And then I'll be like, hey, we haven't kind of gone down this road. Yeah, we should definitely do that. Um, I'm like, okay, you let me know when you're ready. Okay, I will. But I feel like now that the business is going like this, like,
Yeah, now that we have like 2 senior hires, I kind of want to be like next to them as opposed to helping them,
yeah,
as I'm in my career at the moment. I think I'm past like doing things other people don't want to do. Like right now, I think I'm on a path to have someone do things for me that I don't want to do, which is called calling and probably headhunting for a bit. But yeah, that's where I see myself in the next, well, couple of months or years, depending on Andrea and depending on the world, basically,
yeah.
right now. But yeah.
But let's flesh that out. So if that's like IT sales, and I say, hey, it's IT sales, New York,
Yeah.
that means you're finding candidates, you're speaking to them, you're sending them to the market, and you're following up with a call.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that follow up with a call? Because that's the key to it. Hey, I said I'd follow up. What did you think of that candidate? Let's have a chat. Like, that's the bit you can't get away from if you want to sit alongside a senior hire.
Yeah, I know. That's just something I will have to work out on my own. Because, yeah, I still don't like, I don't even use phone in my personal life. Like, I got my grandma to text me, and she's like proper now texting now on WhatsApp and stuff. So I'm just like, even in my personal life,
Yeah.
if I'm phoning someone, it
Yeah.
means it's an emergency. Like, the only time I've used my phone, I think this year, was when I had a car accident and I had to call my dad. And then he was like freaking out because he never receives calls from me.
This drives me up the wall, right? Like, if I had hair, I'd be pulling it out right now. Like, I know, like, you speak to clients and they're like, hey, like my mate Darry, he said, she's really impressive. And I was like, I fucking know. Like, she's afraid of the phone. And he was like, oh, right, okay. I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to work through it. And he was surprised, like, at your level of like how you were able to interact and how, like, I don't know what his vision of what you did was, because like he hadn't heard from me before, but all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, okay. So why why don't you have her like being standalone?" Like she's afraid of the phone. So how do we get past it, Irina? What are we going to do to get past?
Oh, I'm just gonna do it. That's how I'm
Just
gonna.
going to do it.
I'm just gonna do it. Like it's not like I have like a deadly phobia of the phone. I'm gonna like, you know, shake in fear if I if I make a call. So it's just gonna be like I'm just gonna expose myself to it, and like even now when I schedule a couple of calls with candidates throughout the day, like when it's the first one, I'm like, oh God, I really don't want to do this. But when it's like the second or the third one, I just don't really care anymore. I'm just like, I'm just gonna give them a call.
Yeah, because you're a confident person. Like you meet you, like you see on camera, like eh, I I don't know what they did to you in that agency, like, but we have to try and get past it. What what was it like meeting us for the first time? Because you've been working with us for 2 years before you met us, right? That was a crazy experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember how my grandma thought you didn't exist and you were
Yeah.
gonna met me or something. Yeah.
Here's the boss here. Come here a second. So we're just finishing up.
Hello.
Irina has told the world that she wants to be a standalone recruiter
Oh.
and she wants to go for it, and she has to get over her fear of the phone.
I've got one of those. I know all about that.
Oh my God.
Like I said to dualta, I'm just gonna do it, and like the fear is eventually gonna go away. It's not even the fear; it's the dread of picking up the phone.
But the thing is, half the time then, or more than half the time, when you're on the phone to them, it's great crack and, it's all good. It's those mental barriers we put for ourselves,
Exactly. Yeah. Like once they say hello, I'm all good.
I know. Like I've heard terrible people on the phone in agencies, and I've heard you, and you're great. And I'm like, oh, what? Anyway, we're going to get past it.
Yeah.
I can see you in IT sales. I know I'm not allowed to encourage you in that way, but I can see you. I can see you killing that market, and I believe in you. And we're going to make it happen when Andrea gets back.
As soon as she comes back, that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, lovely.
Now I've said it on the podcast, so
Yeah.
now
This is it.
for it now.
Yeah, pod committed.
Committed.
Okay, thanks for sharing your journey with us. We love you and appreciate you.
We do.
Never leave us.
Never leave us.
And I'm excited for the next stage of your career.
I know. And I'm excited for when we can next meet again. Hopefully. Travel restrictions pending.
Hopefully that's gonna be soon.